It seems like every day there's a new food trend, and it's hard to keep up, especially when you don't give a Now, I don't know how many times people ask me what the next big thing is gonna be in food. Do I look psychic to you? And if I was psychic, I think I'd predict the lottery, not whether collard greens are ready to make a comeback. From nose-to-tail dining to rustic cuisine to stinkin' kale, today we're gonna be cooking up some trendy eats and giving food pop culture a wet willy. Wet willies suck. First up, a Jamaican Ox Tail curry. Then we're making fried kale chips, sprinked with cider vinegar. For dessert, pear and chestnut cream parfaits in a mason jar. That's rustic, right? Panos reports on oxtail.
Try it, bro. Don't be a coward.
The spice agent gives us the goods on Jamaican curry powder.
Not only the goods, but very important information.
Hans wets himself over kale.
The queen of the green.
You're watching Bitchin Kitchen and I'm Nadia G, who thought this shirt would be nice and colorful on television, but instead I just look like your creepy uncle who vacations in the Philippines. During my time as a super famous food person and generally excellent human being, I've seen all kinds of food trends come and go, except cupcakes. Oh, they'll never go away. Just when you think you've seen it all with cupcakes, whoa, there's another drama. Oh no, will the cupcake delivery arrive on time? Oh no, will the cupcake tower survive the steps of death? Nadia, they're like the housewives of the food world, these cupcakes. Just trade the filling for filler, and who can tell the difference? Now, cupcakes aside, we're gonna be cooking up some trendy eats, starting with nose-to-tail dining. Now, this movement is about eating the whole animal, not just the tasty parts you actually want to eat. In theory, I guess it's pretty cool, less wasteful and all that. In practice, you're paying to eat the stuff they should be paying you to eat. Now, I found a happy medium with Jamaican Ox Tail curry. Let's do it. In a bowl, season 3 pounds of oxtail with sea salt and pepper. Generously. Now brown them in 2 tablespoons of olive oil over medium-high heat for a couple of minutes. When I was a kid growing up in Jamaica, we would eat this all the time. It's delicious. Now move these suckers into a Dutch oven. Meats. And deglaze the pan with half a cup of stout beer. Scrape the bottom of the pan to get all those crispy bits in there. Pour this goodness in with the meat. Perfect. Here's Panos with more on oxtail.
Thanks, Nads. Oxtail is what it sounds like, the tail of cattle. In the past, it used to refer specifically to the tail of an ox, but today, we're more equal opportunity when it comes to skinning tails, cutting them into chunks and consuming their flesh. Oxtail has an amazing, rich, meaty flavor, and the bones add a ton of gusto to any soup, stew, or sauce. It's too funny when people get all grossed out by cuts of meat like oxtail. Bro, do you have any idea what kind of meat is in that hot dog of yours? Oxtail is like filet mignon in comparison. Stop being such a coward and try new things once in a while. Me too. I was scared of trying new things. But when Miss Mykonos told me that her dowry was 12 olive bushels and 4 lambs, I told her forget about it and married this one over here. New things, bro. New things.
Thanks, Panos. Leave the oxtail alone for now. What you're gonna do is add 2 more tablespoons of olive oil into the pan and throw in 2 large diced onions. Saute these for about 7-8 minutes until they got some nice brown color. These onions smell amazing with our browned oxtail over here. It reminds me of the first time I went to Jamaica. I'll never forget. I accidentally booked myself at one of those kinky resorts. Now, why is it that people who shouldn't get naked are always the first ones to take it all off? And that volleyball tournament, man, the way things were just bouncing. When we get back, we're gonna attack this curry with our face holes. The spice agent is gonna fill you in on all things curry, and I'll yap about the worst food trends ever. Stay hungry. Being one of the great thinkers of our time, I do a lot of thinking. Now, I don't ponder. Guess pondering's for nerds. But thinking, I can't stop. The wheels are constantly spinning.
That's a laser.
Yeah, that is a laser. Our onions are browned. Now, throw in 4 cloves of finely chopped garlic and 1 minced habanero chili, seeds removed. You could use whatever chili you like. In fact, you could even use chilies you don't like. It's up to you. Speaking of not liking stuff, here are the worst food trends ever. Just good destiny.
What are you doing? It's a top 3 list.
Mixology. Look, I love the idea of people getting creative with cocktails, but moss-infused chamomile bitters with a Malaysian bean paste rim is pushing it, no? I mean, doesn't anyone think about it coming up anymore? Come on! Truffles. Truffles are like cologne. A little goes a long way. But these days, it seems like every dish is the truffly equivalent of your pervy uncle. Risotto? I will not sit on your lap, okay? Gourmet burgers. $60 for a burger. Yeah, right. I appreciate my foie gras the traditional way, fed to me by man-slaves in Bali. To our sauteed onions and chilies, add 4 tablespoons of Jamaican curry powder. Shuffle it around for about a minute. While I get this going, here's the spice agent with more on shuffling.
Thank you, Nadia. Today's spice, Jamaican curry. It's a fantastic spice, but it's very pungent, and if you're not careful, it can overpower your dish. And we both know what that can lead. That's right, a dish that's overpowered by Jamaican curry. There are many different kinds of curry. The original curry, Madras or Indian curry, African curry, Malaysian curry, Chinese curry, another curry. They all start with a blend of several different spices, including curry leaves, cumin, cloves, turmeric, coriander, cinnamon, chili pepper, bay leaves, black pepper, and many, many more. But today, we talk about Jamaican curry powder. It's like Indian curry, but it also has additional spices to give it like a very particular Jamaican flavor. Spices like allspice and mustard seeds and anise seeds. Me, I like Jamaican curry. It's like Yecheskel. It doesn't follow trends. Yecheskel, he makes them. What's the point of buying skinny jeans if I know that in 11 years I can't wear them? But there are certain trends that are becoming, well, very popular here in Ra'anana. Things that I refuse to follow. Like, for example, breakfast. No, thank you. I'll stick to Nescafe and my depression pills. Or another one that's really gaining momentum now is paying rent on time. My father always told me, Yecheskel, if you pay your rent on time, you'll never get kicked out and see the world. He's right.
Thanks, Giuseppe Minchiasti. This curry smells amazing. Next, add 3 tablespoons of tomato paste, 3 tablespoons of flour, and cook this for another minute or so. And it's at this stage of the recipe that it's super important that you give it a taste. Yeah, okay. Pour in 1 3/4 cups of good quality coconut milk. Stir it up so everything's mixed together. Now schiaf the sauce into our Dutch oven, which has got our gorgeous browned oxtail, and add 3 cups of organic beef stock with a quick stir. And simmer this for about 3 hours, partially covered on low heat until the oxtail is tender and starts falling off the bone. After 3 hours, throw in 2 sliced sweet potatoes, about 4 or 5 sliced carrots, and simmer the vegetables for about 35 minutes until they're tender. Every once in a while, skim off the oil, as much oil as possible. Stir it up a little bit. Add the juice of 16 micro limes. Or you could use the juice of 1 big lime if you're lazy. We're gonna season this with sea salt, or 2, some freshly cracked pepper, One last stir. Let's plate this dish. Here I got half a cup of steamed basmati rice. We'll ladle on this stewy goodness. Add a bit more lime juice. Add some scallion greens. And scoff. So good. You got the spicy Jamaican curry. The meat of this oxtail is so super tender. A little bit of tanginess from the lime contrasted with the sweet, creamy coconut milk. Oh, look at this nugget. Look at this meaty nugget. You're jealous, so jealous of me. I'm jealous. After a quick break, we're gonna reveal our next food trend, which is super popular in Los Angeles. Here's a hint. Is it A, coconut milk, B, kale, or C, anorexia? Stay tuned to find out. Today on Bitchin' Kitchen, we're talking food trends. Now, in the 80s, it was sushi. In the 90s, you couldn't throw a kitten without hitting a sun-dried tomato. But in 2000, something interesting happened. It became less about the food and all about the people making it. That's right, the rise of the celebrity chef. How did I get implicated? Well, I've always loved cooking, but I saw it as a necessity, not a career. Back in the day, I was doing skit comedy. You may remember me from Easy Break, stick-on sores that make breaking up more simplex. It wasn't working out, the comedy. I was broke, living with my mother, and doing what all depressed people do, watching a ton of food TV. Then one night, it hit me. Why not blend two of my biggest passions into one show? And zakata, Drunken Karaoke Wars was born. No one wanted that show, so I ended up doing Bitchin' Kitchen. I'm okay with that. Ish. On to the kale chips. Now, kale is a massive trend right now. It ain't because of its good looks. It's obviously super healthy. But what isn't obvious is that kale never dies. Look, sometimes I pretend I'm a healthy human being and buy a new vegetable. You know, I won't actually eat it. It's just to make me feel more responsible. But one time, I decided to bring home some kale. Figured I'd stare at it for a couple of days. It would eventually wilt, and then, oops, too bad about that kale, huh? A few days passed. It was still firm and sprightly. A week passed, super fresh. A week and a half passed. Disgraziata, at that point, I just ate it. Kale forced me to eat it, man. It was good. Get your hands on one bunch of kale, then grab a resealable plastic bag, and pour in a 1/4 cup of olive oil. Then scaff in the kale and smush it around so the oil coats all the leaves. Now place the leaves on a baking tray. Try and get them in an even layer. Bake these at 350 degrees for about 12 to 15 minutes until they're nice and crispy. While these crisp up, here's Hans with more on kale.
Miss G, it's time for me to come clean. For years now, I've been hiding a big secret. Now, I'm sure lots of you have had your suspicions. I mean, this ripped body, the red tight underwear.
You're doing what?
I prefer kale to spinach! Kale kills spinach in every round. It has twice as much protein, 3 times as much calcium, 4 times the vitamin A, and 10 times the vitamin C. It's a superfood, all right. It should be added to your dinner immediately. If kale scares you, just julienne it real thin and mix with your salads or sauces. Plus, it's loaded with dietary fiber to help you, lay one that you're proud of, Miss G.
Cut! I don't think you can say that on TV, man.
What? Lay one that you're proud of?
No, that it should be added to your dinner immediately. We can't boss people around like that. Freaking Hans. These look amazing. We're gonna season these with a little bit of cider vinegar, and some Malden salt. You can use sea salt, fleur de sel, whatever you like. Let's eat. Yay! I love these salt and vinegar kale chips. They're crispy, vinegary, and the vinegar, because it's cider vinegar, makes it more interesting than regular vinegar. Come on, let's face it. Nice. Time for dessert, and we're making rustic pear and chestnut cream parfaits. Now, whenever you hear the term rustic, it can mean two things. One, you're overpaying for a cheap peasant dish. And two, the chef couldn't be bothered to plate it nicely. It also means delicious when it's done right. And we're gonna start with our chestnut cream. Throw in 7 ounces of cooked chestnuts into a small pot. Add 1 cup of heavy cream and simmer on low heat for about 30 minutes. When we get back, we're gonna finish this dessert and make fun of foodies. Stay bitchin'. You know I'm going to see them live, huh?
Can you get me tickets?
Yeah, do that. We can't talk about food trends without talking about foodies. And they can be broken down into 2 categories. People who just love to scoff and people who just love to be pretentious hacks. Did you try the sous vide egg at the twit table? I mean, it was a perfect 183 degrees. No, I didn't. Because I'm an attractive human being who actually stands a chance at mating. Our chestnuts have been simmering in cream for half an hour. Plop the lot into a food processor. Here we got some canned pears and syrup. We're gonna use the pears later, but add 2 tablespoons of the syrup to our chestnut cream. In goes half a teaspoon of vanilla extract and puree until smooth. Good. Now strain the mixture through a wire mesh sieve. Use a rubber spatula to force it through. Cover this up. And into the fridge it goes until it's completely cool. Let's make our mascarpone cream. In a bowl, add a 1/4 cup of mascarpone cheese. Add 2 tablespoons of buckwheat honey. You can use regular honey too. And 1/8 of a teaspoon of cinnamon, not too much. And you want to whip this really well until all the ingredients are incorporated. Now fold in half a cup of whipped cream. See, it doesn't have to be perfectly mixed. Those little strands of honey create excitement for really depressed people. We're gonna get our chestnut cream out of the fridge. Now your fridge may not have the chill and insert into piping bag feature. Not everyone can be so lucky. Let's put these parfaits together. Grab a mason jar and add a layer of mascarpone cream. Now add a layer of diced canned pears, chestnut cream, more pears, and top it off with a last layer of mascarpone cream. Sprinkle the top with some shortbread cookies that have been smashed into crumbs, and drizzle with some more buckwheat honey. How cute is this? But if you want to get even trendier, just whack all the ingredients on a plate and call it a deconstructed parfait. Oh, this is so good. You really taste those chestnuts. Got a little bit of tanginess from the mascarpone and sweetness from the pear. And these shortbread cookies, they add a little bit of texture. It needs a bit of texture. Today on Bitchin' Kitchen, we cooked up some trendy eats and hopefully inspired you to try new things. Some of you out there may be like, oxtail, kale, and mason jars does not make you adventurous. And to you I say, well, yeah, oh really? Well, I'm looking into post-mortem taxidermy. Top half mounted, bottom half, purse for the new generation. To each their own, right? Alla prossima!
Bye.